What is up, AlienARMy? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore, and on this channel we discuss everything out of this world. So today's topic, we are going to be diving a little bit deeper into the realm of spirituality and esotericism, all of that good stuff. So I do want to just point out that this might not be the video for everyone, but if you clicked on it and you're resonating with the energy, then this is the message that you are meant to hear right now. So we are going to be discussing the 144,000, or as I recently channeled, the consorts of Gaia. So what does this mean exactly? Now, it took me a few weeks to figure out what messages were being conveyed to me, and the thing that I am going to say right now is that there is a purported 144,000 light workers or highly advanced spiritual beings that are to come onto this planet or have incarnated on this planet in order to form a new Earth. So depending on where you heard that information from, the story might be slightly different, but typically it is always the same number, 144,000. So as conveyed to me, what message I have received in regards to this is that the 144,000 is representative of the consorts of Gaia. So I'm not quite certain how the 144,000 actually computes to math, because as conveyed to me, and just when I channel, I look up different things because I'm like, wait a second, I want to make sure I know what the fuck I'm talking about here. So when I received this message, I did look into it, so I do have some further information which you can look up on your own, which is readily available online. But just to be clear, I am not certain, because I did not receive a message in regard to that, if the 144,000 is dispersed amongst the four consorts of Gaia, or if the 144,000 is equal to each of the branches of the four consorts of Gaia. So what do I mean when I'm talking about the four consorts of Gaia? Now, Gaia, I'm sure you're familiar with, is another name for the planet Earth. So when we are talking about the 144,000, we are talking about the consorts of the planet Earth, which consort essentially just means spouse. So if we want to look at Gaia as Earth, we have the four consorts which are married to Gaia in their own specific way in order to bestow the presence of the energy that they carry within them. So I am a disciple of Uranus. I say Uranus, I don't say Uranus. If you do, that's great, but you will know if you are as well a disciple of Uranus, or as he likes to be referred to by me as Zaddy. Getting that out of the way, who are the other three consorts of Gaia? So we have the consort of Gaia being Uranus. We also have the consort of Gaia Pontus. We also have the consort Aether, or Aether, however you want to say it. I'm just going to say Aether. And we have the consort of Gaia Tartarus. So each of these four, as conveyed to me, and you can look this up too, because I wanted to double check what I channeled, because you know, I do that. The four consorts of Gaia, Uranus is representative of the element of air. Tartarus is representative of the element of earth. Pontus is representative of the element of water, or as conveyed to me, the sea. Aether is representative of the element of fire, or illumination. These four consorts of Gaia are representing the four elements of Earth. We also are aware that in astrology and the tarot, there are the four elements. So me, being a disciple of Uranus, would be a representative of the energy of air. That is what I am going to be predominantly speaking of. That is how I channel. That is just what is bestowed upon me. So I'm not going to speak about Pontus, I'm not going to speak about Aether, I am not going to speak about Tartarus. If you are a representative of any of those three, then you will know those elements better than I do. I know the air element because I am a disciple of Uranus. So with these four elements, they all are, if we want to take into consideration the 144,000, each of these elements has a specific gift to bring onto the planet Earth for the Great Awakening at this time. So I'm sure you're familiar with the term the Great Reset. I'm sure you're familiar with the term a new Earth. What I'm going to be focusing on here is the term a new Earth, because this is what the 144,000 were sent here to achieve. Just a quick breakdown before I continue with the element of air. There are four representations which embody the energy of the four elements which are found on Gaia or planet Earth. Uranus is the air element. Tartarus is the earth element. Pontus is the water element. Aether is the fire element. So if we want to really take a look at these four elements, Tartarus is the inner, the core of the earth, the primordial nature of planet Earth or Gaia. Then we have the sea, which is water, which is above the primordial core element of the planet Earth. Then we have air, which is where the ocean meets the sky, which is a realm that I'm familiar with because it is transitioning water energy into the element of air with the sky. Then above that air element, we have the ethers, which is the high astral, which is the stratosphere, I believe. It is above the jet stream type energy, and this is what is connecting the earthly realms to the space or the heavens or to the universal. So as a representative of air and a disciple of Uranus, my mission as part of the 144,000 is to get my knowledge across via the conduit which air provides for me. So this is the clarity of thought. So however Tartarus and however Pontus and however Aether communicates, if you are in vibration with one of those energies, you will know that energy more than I do. And I do not speak about things that I do not know of. This is why I research my videos if I'm channeling something, and even though I know that I know it, I want to make sure that I give you the best information I can where you can fact check for yourself. So now I am going to be speaking simply about the discipleship of the Uranian individual, which is here to get the message across in regards to the workings of the new earth via the element of air. This is claircogzinance, this is knowing. Now, as I said, Uranus is a consort of Gaia. So essentially Gaia has four spouses, and they are the ones that I mentioned that embody the different elements that are present whilst someone is in a third dimensional physical vessel on the planet Earth. Uranus is married to Gaia. Uranus, as conveyed to me, and I'm just going to go into what he tells me, so take what resonates with you. But either which way, Uranus explained to me that he is a consort of Gaia and his concubine is the planet Neptune. Now, I am familiar with the Greek mythology of Uranus, but for the information that I am going to be conveying to you here, I will be channeling Uranus as simply the planet, astrologically speaking. This is where I speak from. So very briefly to get into it, Uranus is known in mythology as Lord of the Sky. Now, mythology is not necessarily a myth in the way that someone thinks that it is a faux scenario. Myth, if you want to look at the definition, because I did, myth, the first definition that comes up if you were to search for that is saying that myth is actually a traditional story, especially one concerning the early history of a people or explaining some natural or social phenomenon, and typically involving supernatural beings or events. Other words for myth are folktale, story, tale, saga, parable, and you get the idea. So the word myth, the number one definition that comes up, is not what someone would claim to be as a fallacy. A myth a lot of times is interpreted as something being false or something made up. However, if you want to check out the definition for yourself, it's really just a story that is passed on down from generation to generation. With that being said, Uranus is god of the sky, and this is what he was primarily known as. This is how he embodies himself to me when he conveys messages from an astrological standpoint. I do not channel Uranus, the mythological feature, but I'm taking into consideration the mythological origin, the story of Uranus, as being part of who he embodies energetically, astrologically. So when I am speaking about that I'm channeling Uranus, this is from a purely astrological standpoint. Uranus has a consort, Gaia. Uranus has a concubine. His words, not mine, Neptune. Uranus is the masculine principle. Neptune is the feminine principle. So Lord Uranus, astrologically speaking, is claircogzinance, the thought, the clarity of knowing. Neptune is the feminine aspect, which builds upon the knowingness of Uranus. So they work together in tandem to co-create the reality on Earth, Gaia. So when I am speaking about Uranus and the 144,000, Uranus is essentially the knowing of what one knows on the third dimensional plane without knowing how they know. And their knowingness, which is just the lightning bolt of information bestowed upon the individual from the ethers. Aether, remember, ether is over here because it's the full illumination of the heavens. Then we have Uranus, which is air, which is underneath that stratosphere energy. Then we have the water, the sea, which is Pontus, the feeling. Then we have Tartarus, which is the primordial physical matter, the core of the earth in and of itself. So my knowing, just from being a disciple of Uranus, is what I speak about here. We know things, we don't know how we know things, but we know that what we know is the truth, our truth, because we simply know it. This defies logic, this defies reasoning, although if one has a knowing impulse, which I have many times, and you want to look up the actual physical evidence or facts, you are likely to find a correlation betwixt what you know and what actually is. So Uranus is the discipleship of the element of air for the 144,000. So as I said, I don't know if each of the elements contains the 144,000 or if the 144,000 are just a conglomeration of all four elements mixed together. But when I get more information on that, I will let you know. So me being a disciple of Uranus, how I communicate the ascension process as conveyed to me is via vocalization, via the channeling of knowing without knowing how I know, and then translating the knowings via the throat chakra energy and the third eye chakra energy. That is the blue energy that the planet Uranus embodies. So when I am channeling Uranus, we are taking into consideration the Greek mythology as well as the astrological connotations. How Uranus presents himself to me, he simply has me view him as a planet conveying every type of idiosyncrasy of the energy of the planet Uranus. So this is pure thought without interruption. This is knowing without knowing how you know, just knowing that you know. And this is about word of mouth. This is about telecommunication with others via internet or via some sort of electronic device. So this is how disciples of Uranus are most comfortable conveying the message of a new earth, being a part of the 144,000 mission. So a Uranian disciple is going to be someone who is into communication from a distance. They might be someone who is able to view things remotely. They are someone who is quite comfortable being on their own, away from the audience that they are conveying their messages to. This is someone who operates telepathically primarily, because remember, with the energy of Uranus, we are really looking at throat chakra with the communication with that air element being thought and communication. And we are focused on the throat chakra and the third eye chakra, as well as the colors of blue and turquoise. So a Uranian individual is going to a Uranian individual is going to gravitate towards the colors of blues and turquoises. Sometimes a periwinkle, which is transitioning into that crown chakra violet energy. A Uranian individual as a disciple of the energy of Uranus is also going to have Uranus as a dominant planet, Uranus conjunction a cardinal point. They are someone who is going to have a lot of aspects to Uranus in the natal chart. This is someone who is going to have an affinity for just knowing that they know without questioning what they know, without doubting what they know. This is someone who is very confident and self-assured in their thoughts without necessarily having physical proof or evidence. So this is someone who is going to get their message across by speaking sometimes coldly, sometimes abruptly, sometimes sharply. They are always going to convey their truth. This is someone who is going to be an individual in no matter what the circumstance is. This is someone who is going to do things differently from what would be considered the norm, especially in the way that they convey their messages on the third dimensional plane. So they are likely to communicate telepathically more often than not. This is someone who might have experienced telekinesis from a very young age, continuing into where their journey takes them. They are someone who is able to move things metaphorically as well as physically. They are someone who is able to control the mind and thoughts of others. They are, and anyone can do this, but this is just a specialty of someone who is an embodiment of the air element and is a disciple of Uranus. They are going to think things, and then those things will happen more often than not instantaneously or immediately. This is someone who is going to speak their truth no matter what. This is someone who is going to appear very self-assured and confident, and somewhat like they can fit in anywhere, but they will always look slightly out of place. They are going to be someone who others feel comfortable enough with expressing their thoughts to, just because the Uranian individual is communicating telepathically. They are essentially emitting and receiving thoughts, and they are going to be very nonchalant when someone else is transmitting their thoughts to that Uranian individual. So As part of the light worker of the 144,000, someone who is a Uranian individual might be very good at public speaking. This is someone who does not mind an audience whatsoever. This is someone who can be very articulate in their speech patterns. This is someone who might also come off as random out of nowhere, but they might say a random phrase which will unlock a key into the part of the audience that is listening and can hear them, and therefore this random phrase is going to be precisely what that individual required at that time to help propel them upon their evolutional journey on the third dimensional plane. So a Uranian individual is likely to say the right thing in the right way, in the right place at the right time, because they just know what to say. Because remember, throat chakra, highly active. Third eye chakra, highly active. They know when to speak. They know when to stay quiet. They know when to listen. They know when to tune out. This is someone who is going to come off as a little bit indifferent, but at the same time strangely connected to the individual with whom they are speaking. This is someone who is going to get their point across in an unusual manner. This is someone who is going to be conveying their messages from a distance. I believe I said that before, but it needs reiterating, because this is not someone who is going to be direct in what they're trying to say. So this is someone who is going to be direct yet indirect with their communication. And this is because as Uranus is the consort of Gaia and their concubine is Neptune, they're going to have some of that Neptunian subconscious energy melted in with their psyche. And Neptune is the master magician. So Uranus, when they are getting a point across with that energy of Neptune, that point might be received by the other as though someone is speaking in a riddle. And this is the key, because the Uranian knows that they can lead a horse to water, but they cannot make that horse drink. So they want to make that horse think. And the Uranian individual is going to be in a conversation where they're going to most likely leave things open-ended, because the precise knowingness that they know cannot be conveyed in exactly the way that they know their knowingness. They're going to present something and allow the seeker to decipher for themselves. And this is the energy that is running betwixt Neptune and Uranus. So Neptune as the I am, as the masculine dominating willful principle, they are going to still be influenced by that subconscious feminine beguiling energy, where part of it is a mystery. So they are proclaiming what they know and what the seeker knows, but they are doing so in a way where it remains just mysterious enough for the seeker to want to learn more and research for themselves. So Uranian individuals, as part of the light worker collective of the 144,000, want to keep the masses guessing, because the only way that they know that the masses will decide to seek for themselves is if a little bit of mystery remains in the equation, because they need to formulate their own conclusions. Uranus is all about individuality. Uranus is not going to will or project their knowings onto the other. They may declare, I know that's what this is, you can look that up for yourself, but they are not going to ever force someone to know what they know in precisely the way that they know it. They will know something, they'll say, that's what I know, you do you, I'm gonna be over here doing me. It's more of that type of energy. So Uranian individuals, as part of the collective with the 144,000, they are not going to be someone who is going to be authoritarian in what they are dictating to the masses. They are someone who is going to be very future oriented. They are someone who is likely to be very prophetic in their knowings and their declarations, but they are not going to be someone who is going to say, you must follow me, you must do things this way, you must know what I know in precisely the manner in which I know it. I know what I know. I will leave this here for you, and you can discern for yourself. That is the embodiment of Uranian energy, and it is likely going to come off in an unattached way, a very casual way, not in a way that's going to seem domineering. It might be disconcerting because the knowings that Uranus declares oftentimes come out of nowhere. So a statement might be said, someone might question it, and Uranus is like, I don't know, you figured out, you tell me why I said that. It's going to be cryptic in a way. So the Uranian individual is going to come off as cryptic. They are going to come off as someone who is more into having the individual remain an individual with knowing who they are and knowing who they are not, rather than trying to enforce a certain type of dogma upon the individual. So this is someone, as a disciple of Uranus and as part of the 144,000, they are going to be someone who is leaving the collective consciousness with a question, but also at the same time piquing their interest so that they want to discover more about themselves, for themselves, by themselves. And the thing that I am going to say is that you will find Uranian individuals anywhere that the ocean meets the sky, and this is because the air element is above the ocean. In terms of, if we want to look at it, the four elements, we have the ethers, we have air, then we have ocean, then we have the earth. So this is going to be the transition period where the feeling and the thought, water, air, are married into that knowing. And you can take this phrase however it resonates with you, but you will find a Uranian individual anywhere that the ocean meets the sky. If you are interested in any of the other elements, I do just want to say right now that it's best for you to research that for yourself, because I know Uranian energy. I know tidbits about Aether and Pontus and Tartarus energy, but that is not what I'm here to really convey to anyone. So if you are resonating with Uranian energy, you definitely want to check out where Uranus is in your natal chart. You want to check out any points of contact to a cardinal point, and definitely take a look at what planets, signs you have with your sun, moon, ascendant, and midheaven. So there might be clues in there for you. That's what I got for you today. I am Oculus, the alien next door. We will chit chat again soon.